Alright, so welcome to this week's stream. I know I said last week that I was going to show the rest of the corset. So, welcome to this week's stream.
Hold on, let me just mute myself because this is awkward. Hold on. So, like I said I was going to do the corset, but I've been hand stitching all day yesterday and it's still not done, and it's still hours and hours of hand stitching left, so I didn't want to subject you to that. So instead what we're gonna get is finishing this bag. I've been working on this for a while and calling it the dragon spine bag because the smocking I did on the front looks a bit like a spine, I think, and maybe like one that could belong to a dragon. I'm not an expert in like mythical animals. So what this needs still is a bottom, obviously, like that would help. But also I want to firm it up a little bit because as you can see it's quite floppy right now, and it doesn't look badass when it's just lying there like that. So what I want to do is actually add some boning to it to stiffen the edges up a little bit. And I basically want to take these corner edges and put some simple plastic boning in it to make it hold its shape like the box that I designed it to be, essentially. So it will stand up on its own, hopefully, or maybe at least when you're carrying it, it will stay in shape instead of flopping around. I also think that putting the bottom in will help because that will be just a rectangle sitting in there holding its shape. But I also want to make sure that these corners don't collapse. So I'm going to be stitching some boning into it. I don't really want it to show on the outside, like I don't want a line here, but I do want it to go from this corner to this. So what I've devised is, it's very much like the corset, to stitch some boning tape to the inside, and then just put some of this simple plastic boning in it. So that's what I'm going to start with. You might also notice all the clothes pegs and clips and stuff on the edge. That's just because I stitched in the zipper, and that folds over the edge of the fabric, but it's really bulky, so it wants to sort of come back out. And ironing this is just not going to happen at this stage, so I just decided to clip it and leave the clips there for a while for the fabric to find its new home. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. So I'm going to just turn it inside out so I can start with the little boning channels. I noticed some of this is coming loose a little bit. That's not good. This needs to stay in place. I've already, like, this is iron-on interfacing, but it's very not sticky. So I've already stuck it down with some double-sided tape over here. I think I'm gonna just add some more in here real quick before I like lose it. This is the first real bag that I'm making. Like, I did some simple, you know, sort of rectangular bag out of fabric with nothing else. But this is the first one that's actually got some design to it and is supposed to be sort of a firm, proper ladies' bag or something. So it's been kind of an adventure engineering this whole thing. I've put this padding in to make it be a bit stiffer, but I think it's not enough, so boning is gonna happen. That's better. So I've got quite a bit of seam allowance left here on the inside, so I can stitch the boning channel to that, and then also a little bit to these edges, I think. And that will actually nicely, hopefully, open up the seam so that it will also sit flat, looking at it from the outside. Actually, I should probably iron that. I hadn't even thought about that. I was just stitched it together and left it, but I think if you iron this open, it will allow the corner on the outside to be more crisp instead of round. So maybe I'll do that first. And then I will just hand stitch the boning channels to these seam allowances here. So here we go with the ironing again. I swear half of tailoring is ironing. Where's my my slab of muslin? My table ironing board, ladies and gentlemen. And I think I'm gonna... Ooh, actually, I've got something far more pro. Hold up. I have a sleeve board. So this is just a tiny ironing board intended to do like the inside of sleeves, but I'm pretty sure it'll work for this. Haha. Yet another purchase justified. I'm also going to grab some greaseproof paper because my experience with this leather is that it sticks to the iron like hell. Oh, why is it collapsing? No, 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 no. Ah, okay. Uh-oh. I think it's actually stuck. Maybe it's a bit too hot. Hold on. This is not supposed to happen. It peels off. Okay. No damage, no real damage. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I use this paper. Now I just want to get this edge. Okay, okay. Looks good. Oh, it is actually damaged. When did I... Is that when I aggressively peeled this off? Must have been. Whoops. It's just the inside though, so it's okay. Oh. Now to do the other one. That one didn't stick, so I think reducing the heat a bit is working. Okay. Come on. And I think there might be one more thing I just want to stitch down before I get to the thing. I'm just noticing that the bit of interlining that I stuck down with the tape here, it's gonna be caught in the bottom seam, so that's not gonna move, but this could still flop around. So I just want to quickly stitch down here and down here to make sure that that stays in place even after the bag is entirely finished. So I'm gonna see if I can quickly do that. And then for reals, it's boning channel time. That is not where that goes. That's better. So if I can just, I don't want to have to do, it doesn't have to be too accurate, and I don't want to have to put a lot of effort into it. So if I can just sort of bend this down a little bit and call it a day, that would be great. I notice I even trimmed it here, which is not necessarily smart, seeing that I now want to be pinning it down. But if I can't entirely do it, it's still better than nothing. It's also already caught in a seam here, so maybe this will still come up more though. Change that and take only these layers. Any amount that it's attached is better than what it is right now, so. Most of all, I just need to make sure that I'm not actually stitching on anything that shouldn't be stitched. Oh, it wants to escape. I should probably do this with a zipper foot because the part I folded over is really bulky. Let's try that. That's much better. That's one. Why is it making weird noises? I don't trust this. It still moves though. It's a bit sloppy, but it's gonna end up all the way on the inside the lining. No one's gonna see this ever once it's finished, so I'm cool with that. Where are my shears though? Hold on. Okay, so the machine can go, and now it's time to stitch some boning channels to the edges to make it, keep its shape more better. So that should be about this long. I'll make sure I stretch it out right because that's kind of the point. Just pin it on and then start the joy that is hand stitching. I gotta make sure it really goes from corner to corner. Even though I'm trying to only stitch it to the seam allowances on the inside, I'm still going to use a matching thread because if I do end up picking up some of the outside, I want it to be as invisible as possible. I think this is a good spot for it. Should I have made it a bit longer so it extends on both sides? Is it going to wiggle itself out? It might. I think I'm going to take a slightly longer piece actually and make it, because right now I've just started it here and cut a bit extra at the end. But I think if I have a little bit extra at either end, I can then stitch it closed and make sure that the piece of boning doesn't like wiggle itself out over time and fall into the lining somewhere. Yeah, changing my mind all the time. I am such a pro. So let's try for this one then. All right, here we go. Actually, I might still... Is this the same thread? I keep a collection of needles with thread that's still got some in them. I think this is actually the correct one. Because, you know, you never know how much you should put on the needle, so I just take a large amount, and if I've got some left, I don't want to throw it out. Because why would you throw anything out? So I just have a little piece of cloth up there that holds needles with threads still in them. I'm also going to need my thimble, aren't I? Okay, good to go. So I've got some cool news for this whole streaming business. I guess I'll also tell you the backstory. There's a yearly conference for costume folk called Costume College. It's somewhere in the US. And I've never been there, I just found out about it earlier this year. And I wanted to go, but obviously got cancelled because of coronavirus. So someone is hosting a sort of online equivalent. If you hear some background noise, by the way, that's rain and I can't do anything about it. Just started, sorry. So it got cancelled and some people are hosting an online equivalent. It's not affiliated with, as far as I understand, but it's just an initiative for people who make costuming content to all post it on the same weekend, essentially, and create a kind of online conference that way. And when I heard about it, I thought, I've wanted to go, so I'm definitely gonna do this online thing. But also, maybe I can actually contribute, because I sew things that are not your average piece of clothing. That's sort of costumey, isn't it? So I volunteered to do a stream workshop sort of thing, where I'm gonna do pattern drafting for weird corsets. So basically the stuff I did for the eel wire corset, the weird shapes, and also the insect wing corset I did a couple of years ago. It takes some fiddling with the pattern to get to something like that, and I figured that people might be interested in how to do that for themselves. So I'm going to be hosting a 3-hour stream on how to manipulate corset patterns, and I'm kind of excited for it. And it's happening on the last weekend of the month, or actually sort of the first weekend of next month, I guess. It's the Thursday the 30th until Sunday the 2nd of August. And I'm going to be doing the stream on the Saturday, I think. So hey, I get to not just enjoy the online conference, I get to actually, hopefully, do something useful for it. So I'm pretty excited about that. I've got some prep to do for it though, because unlike this where I just sit down and work on things, I'll need to know what I'm talking about, and I think I know what I want to be talking about. I just need to write it down so I don't forget parts. And I've also got to prepare some mock-ups to do the pattern alterations too. So this, of course, will not detract from your regularly scheduled stream. So I'll be doing the additional one on Saturdays, and then I think I'm still going to do the one on Sundays if I'm not too exhausted. Or maybe do a shorter one. Oh, I hate hand stitching, it's so slow. Probably means I'm bad at it, or I'm too finicky about doing really small stitches, but I hate it. Taking a couple of tiny stitches in the outer fabric just to anchor it down. Shouldn't be too visible from the outside. To the point where if you can tell that I did it, you're too damn close. Right. Ow. Yeah, it looks fine. So that's one side finished. Well, the bottom of one side at least. So now I'm going to go back the other way. Probably work on getting some background music for the stream. I know I promised some people karaoke at some point, but I don't think I'm quite ready for that yet. Why is it? No. It's getting caught on this edge. Oh. All good. After I finish this one, I'm going to just test it and turn it inside out with some boning in it to see whether it actually achieves what I want. Because maybe it'll make me change my mind about doing the other one. And also, I want to do some along these seams, which I'm not going to hand stitch on, because I can just, stitch it down to this seam instead of having it to basically, I already have a solution for not having it visible from the outside, which is stitching into this. And I'm using some plastic boning so you can just totally stitch right through it. Or at least that is what I'm told. I've never actually done that, so I'm gonna give that a quick test before I ruin, I don't know, either my machine or my bag. So I did this stream because I would have too much hand sewing on the corset, and here I am, hand stitching. When did I sign up for this? Okay, that should be the last stitch, at least on this side. So now let's test it with a little bit of boning. So just some leftover pieces from the stash that not entirely sure where they came from, and I probably kept them for way too long, but hey. It just goes to show that keeping things is good, and more people should do it. Because it's a bit too long, about this much. Whoops. I don't want to cut this with my fabric shears, that's probably going to make them blunt, so. Where's my regular scissors? Alright, let's flip it outside out and see whether it actually does what I want it to do. So it's in here. It's sort of hard to tell exactly where it is. It's here. It is definitely stopping the side from collapsing. So It's a lot better than the other side, as you can tell, which is just sort of folding it on itself. And this is neat and tidy. So I like what this is doing. It looks a bit awkward somehow, but I think that's just seam allowances being bulky. But yeah, it looks good. So I'm going to do that to the other side as well. And I think, honestly, the bottom is probably going to need some too. Because you can just tell that this whole thing wants to, like, I don't know, wobble around and collapse on itself. But it's gonna be okay because we have the plastic to make it happen. We have the technology. Did I even iron this? It's barely staying open. It's alright. So this was the too short piece, so I need a new one over here. I cut the seam allowance really short here. Why did I do that? That was not smart. Where is the corner? Here. I think I stretched it a bit too much. It's more like it. Okay, hand stitching part 2. Where's my needle? Oh. Come on. That's better. So me doing this bag now also means that I'm closing in on actually finishing this. And then between this and finishing the corset, I think it's time to start thinking about next projects, because I've been not starting anything because I've just been, you know, you can only have so many projects in progress before it just becomes abandoned. So I said I want to finish this and I want to finish the corset, and then I'll think about what I'm going to do next. And I think it's gonna be some Regency things. It is yet more sewing, but it's sort of, I watched too many Jane Austen adaptations, and now I really, really, really want to make a sort of Mr. Darcy look for myself. Because I hate the Regency women's wear. It's just so, it's just a curtain from the waist down. But I love all the collars. So I think I'm going to do that one next, and then hopefully in September I should receive the Snapmaker 2 that I pre-ordered, which is a 3D printing, CNC, routing, carving, laser cutting, engraving device. And that means that September will be time for new kinds of projects. I've already got something in mind for either, I'm not sure if it's going to be CNC or laser cutting, because I heard that the laser on the Snapmaker is not particularly strong. It's mostly meant for engraving, and don't expect to cut anything thicker than 2 millimeters with it. But I've been brainstorming options for that thing. And I want to make a jigsaw puzzle with like lights in it. Because I am a firm believer that anything can be improved by the addition of lights. Hence the corset. So the plan would be to make a jigsaw puzzle that has like copper wire inlaid into it or something, so that if you complete the puzzle, you will complete the circuit, and something will happen. Probably just lights, because that's easy. Maybe some night sky theme, and then some stars will light up, or something like that. So once I've got that coming up, I also want to get more familiar with designing that sort of stuff. I've already downloaded Inkscape, which is like free Coral Draw, essentially. And I've been practicing a bit, but I still have to actually get started on designing the puzzle. And then also for 3D modeling, I'm not sure. Everyone is all about Fusion 360, but it's only free for like a year these days. It used to be free for non-commercial purposes, but they've even changed that to being free for a year for non-commercial purposes. So I'm looking for open source alternatives. So until I get my Snapmaker, I'm going to just sew a couple of things. I need to do some fabric shopping for it. Okay, that's one way. Now just back the other side. And that'll be it for the hand stitching for today, I think. Nearly there. Whoops. I got myself stuck. How did I just lose my thread? And also, on the last stitch, this is, I don't know, the sewing gods are taunting me. Okay. Now I just need to cut a bit of boning for this side. I'm going to just machine stitch these things closed so it cannot fall out. Because that would be counterproductive. That's one. And two. And three. Oh, did I just stitch through the boning? I think I did. It's not bad though. I guess that shows how easy it is. And that's, at least it's like firmly attached. It's not gonna go anywhere. I thought I pushed it back, but apparently not. Alright, so that's it for the hand stitch boning. And now I've got this rigilene stuff, which I want to go and put along here, I think, to make the bag not collapse when you put it down. And actually, it's got to stop at the edge, so that would be here. Because otherwise you can't, this is going to fold back when the bottom is in. I'm just measuring it to go up to the bones that I just put in, so it makes sort of a connecting framework. I wonder if you can pin this, because it is really stiff and I don't know. It feels sort of not good. I guess I'm also going to put this on the inside seam, so I don't... Yeah, that makes sense. I hope that stitching in the bottom isn't going to be too much of a nightmare after this is in. But you can totally just pin through, well, not totally. It's a bit it doesn't really want to, but if you wrestle it a bit, it'll go. I'm just trying to get it right into the edge of the seam. Okie dokie. Oh, yeah, that's an issue. Haha! I was gonna stitch it down on this bit of the seam allowance, but obviously I stitched it, like I already caught it under here, so I can't actually stitch like this anymore. Whoops. So I guess I am gonna be doing it on the other side. So many mistakes. That's gonna be really thick because there's a lot going on here. I might want to trim some of that back before I start. Then again, it is the thing making the structural integrity of the bag, so gotta be a little respectful with it. Ow! Why am I stabbing myself with pins all the time? I think I've ended up bending a few of them, which is sad. But oh well. Okay, I think this one is at least pinned correctly, so let's see if I can stitch it. Just gonna try to go right down the middle. Okay, well, it looks a bit wonky, but that's fine because you're not going to be able to tell this from the outside anyway. But it has been pretty easy to get this stitched in, actually. This is not bad. So let's do the other one and then see if I can't get it to... Oh, it's working already. Look. It's not particularly impressive yet, but it will be. I'm pretty sure I already cut the other part. Where did it go? I didn't... Where is it? Did it fall? Yeah. Here we go. This is awesome. I'm loving it. Okay, I think that's about right. Ow! That was a bad one. I backed my thumb onto a pin. Doesn't seem to be bleeding, so I'm not going to be staining my back with it, so let's go. Why are you not moving? There we go. This one's actually a bit too long. So I think that should do it. Let's have a look. Haha! It can now stand up straight. I'm getting a bit thirsty, so I'm going to take a quick break, make myself something to drink, and I will be back. Alrighty, so I'm back with a drink. So now I'm just going to be doing the same thing on the other side so that the whole thing can stand up. And then I'm going to look at what I'm going to do for the bottom. I think I'm going to pad it with some craft foam to make it keep its shape, but I'm not sure it's enough. I might still need to stitch some boning into it anyway. But I think I've got enough to do all of that. The markings I've got on here are fading a bit, so just touching them up. That ain't right. Come on. There we go. I wonder if I have to pin all of this. I can probably also just wiggle it into place because it's very specific. You know what? I need to get lazier about pinning because I always pin everything even when probably I don't have to. let's see if I'm right. And I can just sort of wing this. It takes a bit of wrestling to get it into the right spot, but it's not bad, really. Here I just want to make sure that I don't extend it past the bottom edge. So I'm going to put one pin in it and wing the rest, hopefully. Actually, if I do that, maybe I end up either long or short in the end. I'm going to pin the first bit. Alright. I feel like that was faster than the first time. So now it's time to get working on the bottom. Which then needs to fit in here. I have, of course, cut it already. And well, the expectation is that it will... Why did I not even mark this? Interesting. So anyway, when I cut it, I of course did it for the exact measurements that I expected this to have, but it's possible that, you know, it might have changed slightly due to just inaccuracies here and there. So I want to mark what it should have been, but be a bit liberal with how I actually stitch it together. But for that, I do need to actually mark what it should have been. And I feel that I might have not done that. So, oh, hey, hello. This is actually not one piece. I did not fuse this together yet. It's actually two pieces that are marked on the inside. Well, I am both pleased and disappointed with my past self. Because this means I could put... Actually, I can put foam in between these layers if I want to now. Right? I could just cut some foam that's slightly smaller and put it inside. And then sandwich it back together. But I'm a bit worried that if these measurements are off, that the foam is actually going to be too big to go in the actual bag and it's going to distort the shape. So I kind of want to have the option of shaping the foam after I put the bottom in. So, At the same time, I kind of want to stitch the foam to maybe this layer so it's firmly attached instead of just gluing it on. I'm really not sure where I'm going with this. I think maybe gluing actually will be enough, because it is going to be sitting inside the bottom of the bag. So if I just stitch this and then foam is sitting on top and then all the stuff goes on top, so it's not, there's no real tension trying to pull it apart. As long as it roughly stays in place, that's fine. And I also ordered some feet to go like on the bottom of the bag, like those little metal knobs that you see sometimes on the bottom of bags. So those will be coming through all the layers, so that will also help hold it together. So I think I'm just gonna leave it like this. I do want to fuse these together, I think. Let's just disregard the markings on the leather and just go for this. And because I need to hold this together if I'm gonna stitch it in as one piece. And I'm definitely not going to baste it together because it's just going to create holes on the leather. So, interfacing. Here we go. Okay, I'm not great at cutting in a straight line, evidently. Okay, so this is just some Flisofix. It's an iron-on adhesive. So it's backed with paper, you iron it on flat and then flip it over. It'll become obvious when I do it. So let's plug my friend back in. Give myself a surface to iron on. I think it's something like 10 seconds to fuse an area. So just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have a feeling it's sort of showing the texture of the fabric underneath through it. See these little swirlies? That's this wrinkle. That's a little awkward. Hold on. I'll flip this over. That should be better. Alright, that should be it for the leather. Let's See if this will peel off the way it should. I need to let it cool a little bit. Ooh. Almost perfect. There's a little bit still stuck here. I'm not sure why it's doing that, whether I didn't iron it enough there or it's just bad luck or it's coming off fine. Okay, now we're gonna put this on top. And iron it again. So this should remelt the glue and then stick it to this other piece of fabric. That should be it. Let's cool it down on the table. Glass tables are great. Yep, that seems fine. Oops, I'm stuck. There we go. So now, I'm gonna measure this and write down how big it is because that's gonna be my starting point for the foam at least. So I don't need to stick a ruler inside of the, like in the inside of the bag to figure out what I should start with for the foam. So it's probably a nice amount because, oh yeah, so it's 10 by 40. That way I remember. So now I'm gonna try to stitch this, basically just sort of wiggle it into this opening and stitch it all the way around. I think I'm going to do it in parts though. Probably long side first. So let's see if I can at least line up some of the corners. It's a bit too long. I really hope I get this to match up because, like I said, some inaccuracies might have slipped in. The one thing that I need to align it with is the piping that's already there. Because if that doesn't match up, it all looks weird. But then at the sides, it can be kind of hard to tell where the corner is supposed to be. trying to pin slightly outside of the actual stitch line, sort of in the seam allowance, so I don't poke holes into the outside of the bag. So in theory, this fits here. Oh, it's actually not bad. That looks like a reasonable match, right? It's not gotten... So the bag hasn't gotten significantly shorter through inaccuracy. That's nice. Let's try to line up the middle. Put some pegs on it to keep it in place. From what side am I gonna stitch this? Am I gonna hold it? I'm gonna put it under the machine like this, or like that. I feel like this, because here the corner is the corner is the corner, there's no changing it. Whereas if it's a bit off on this side, it's not so bad. So I'm going to pin it from here. It's a bit of a problem that I don't have the seam line marked on this side, honestly. I might tack it, because otherwise it's really difficult to pin. Yeah, let's do that. Let's remove the stabbies. I'm going to just take some black thread. And just from the outside, make some big stitches along where the seam should be, so I can see from the other side. Because, you know, check twice, stitch once. Or something to that effect. So I'm just doing really, really rough stitches. It's just so I can see where the stitch line should be on the other side. So there you have it. Now I can actually pin this like a normal human. Okay. I don't have enough hands for this. Actually, I should probably... So, I want to stitch it... Oh, I want to pin it with the pins on this side because that's how I'm going to sew it. But I also want to just pin this side first because this is a leather part and I don't want to poke a million holes into it. And then find my way lining it up on this side because I can stab this as often as I want. So this is the upside down pinning paradox that I'm in. I think I'm just gonna pin it from the bottom and then either be really careful about removing the pins on time when I stitch it or just repin it again from the top once I'm done with the bottom. Because I like doing work twice. Okay. So one more time then. Pinning it like this. That's way out. How? I can't make something without stabbing myself, I guess. I should probably just use safety pins for this sort of stuff instead of regular pins. That's a lot closer. Okay, this is coming together pretty nicely. So easier than I thought it was going to be. Okay, I think I can take this corner marker out now. Maybe I want to pin it a little bit closer to there. Alright. Now the other side. One more pin, and then I think I've got this down. Okay, so now the question is, am I going to pin it again from the top, or am I going to stitch it like this and remove the pins from the bottom? Or am I going to stitch it like that? But I feel like doing that is going to make it really hard to stop exactly at the corners that I've got here. Because I've got this stitch line here, and I want to start exactly there. So I think I might repin it again. Maybe, yeah. Here we go. Or I'm going to repin just the start, because, I mean, it's really hard to remove pins that are facing the wrong way. But if I've got the start pinned down right, then I've got a little bit of head start before I need to start removing them the wrong way around. I think that'll work. Did I even mark the bottom of this? I marked the corner, but not the exact edge. I'll just doodle on it so I've got something to go on. So it for sure needs to start here. And it for sure needs to end here. So that would put us here. That seems reasonable. Do the same over here. I think that allows me to remove this. And then let's just start stitching and see where we end up. I'm so out. Why do I? This is why you don't put pins on the bottom, because this happens when you grab it. Oh. Nice one. That's bleeding a little bit, so I'm gonna just quickly put a band-aid on that because I don't want to like stain my bag while I'm sewing. Alright, I'm back from my first aid break. So let's try this again, shall we? Oh, this is unplugged. Oh yeah, because I unplugged it for the iron. So let's try not stabbing myself with any more pins. Once again, I'm trying to get exactly to the corner so that it'll be a nice crisp corner when it's finished. Gotta make sure that this gets folded under instead of flipping back like that. It needs to end up stitched flat this way. also trying to feel where the piping is on the outside to get it to stitch right past that. Okay, this is actually really annoying. This whole flipping it over on the bottom. So I think I'm just gonna repin it from the front. Screw my lazy plans and do it properly. Remember, I don't need to pin in exactly the same spot as long as the fabric stays lined up the same way. So I can just pin approximately next to it. Alright, resuming like normal. And then I'm gonna fold this back like that so I can once again get exactly to the corner. Okay, let's see how I did on the other side. Oh, it's actually a bit off. It's actually a bit small in this entire section. So maybe the repinning wasn't as accurate as I thought it was going to be. That's unfortunate. It's also a bit off on the start here. It's sort of making a curve that I don't like. But this fabric is not good at getting unpicked, so I think I'm just gonna leave it and maybe slightly compensate for it on the other side. Like, it's approximately straight enough that I don't think it's gonna cause any issues. But there's some serious pulling here on the first couple of stitches, but yeah. I think that'll be fine. So if this is just a couple of millimeters too small, I'm just going to stitch it a couple millimeters wider on this side. Because I can. And it'll be still, you probably won't notice, right? So now let's try the sides. And immediately, oh no, actually, whew! I was looking at this and thinking, this is shorter. But this is actually the other front, so just care about this part. And all is well. So I'm just going to do those sides and then worry about this part. And so it's now just about 5. So I think I can get this in before the end of the stream and maybe even get the foam in. And then it's just the lining that needs to be done. This is maybe not lining up as well as I thought it might. It seems a bit short for where the markings are. Yeah. So this side is actually a bit wider than what I cut. But like I said, that's okay, because this is just a rectangle with guidelines. And the most important thing is that it actually fits in here. Now, after I stitch this down, I am at the mercy of whether this side matches up with this. So I'm going to pin this, and then I'm going to do a quick measurement of whether it still fits or I need to shift this up or down a little bit to make this longer or shorter to match up with that. Because if it doesn't, that's kind of awkward. So I'm going to pin it and then test the length. Try the other side. It seems to match up better on that side, so maybe I didn't sew equal sides. But hey, it's all good. Alright, now let's test whether if I stitch it like this, the final edge is still going to be the correct size. You can always wiggle it a little bit, like if I hold it like this, you've got an outer curve and an inner curve that are going to be slightly different lengths, but you can still stitch it straight if you do that. But if I have the opportunity to get it exactly right, why not? Why not try it? Oh, it's actually very good. I can just hold it flat and it's approximately the same. I'll be able to stitch that together. Everything's cool. I like it. Alright, so now I'm going to stitch the sides and then the final one. Oh, come on, don't be so annoying. There's a few too many threads floating around here. I don't know what's what anymore. Alright, I think that's it. It doesn't seem to want to move forward. If I pull it a little bit. No, something's pulling it back. Is it the dual feed? Oh, this is stuck somewhere, somehow. Oh! Haha! So the top feed got stuck under the boning. Hold up. Let's just disable that. Or is there something bulky feeling here? That's usually not good. Uh-oh. Whew! I think it was about to get double stitched onto itself. Okay, I'm gonna just remove all this because this is turning into a dumpster fire. Let's quickly repin that before I pick anything out. Because this was all getting a bit too funky. It nearly sort of folded over on itself and got caught, so I'm glad I didn't do that. Okay, I think that's... There are also some stitches that are a bit off the line. just pick those out. All right, attempt number 2. With none of this nonsense. Looks alright on the back. Let's see if the corner turned out okay. If we turn it outside out. That's something I'm kind of curious about. It's very bulky, so I'm going to have to trim the seam allowances back quite a lot, but I'd say that looks pretty normal. And like, not weird. Yeah. Happy with that. I think that the boning is maybe just slightly too long and poking it out. So I'm gonna cut that back a little bit. And lots of trimming needs to happen here to make it all a bit less bulky. There we go. That should help. And the same here. All right, now the other corner. Where exactly am I starting? Oh, this is from the back. That doesn't work, does it? Okay. I think that's that. Alright, so now the final stretch. Oh. Oh no, that was expected, right? I'm just looking at the fact that I stitched way beyond the end here, but that's because this was too short, so that makes sense. Okay. Let's pin this. Okay, let's see if I can get this to play nice. Because it feels like there's something bulky, it's weird going on here. I'm not sure what though. Maybe this corner just could have been better. Actually, not bad. think I'm gonna pin the rest from the correct side. I think I've got it lined up all right. It's kind of hurting my fingers pushing these pins through because everything is so thick and bulky. It's exercise, I swear. This is actually not marked as well as I would like. Because it needs to go like here. More like that. All right, that's good. What is a dragon? Oh, hi Emilia, I didn't notice you. So what is a dragon spine smoking bag? So, yeah, I'm gonna show you why. It's called smocking because smocking is the technique of like pulling fabric together with stitches. And it's called dragon spine because I thought this kind of looked like one. So I made this front panel by making stitches from the back to pull together sections of the fabric so that it would make the shape on the outside. That is why it is called a dragon. Well, so this is a dragon spine. The technique is the smocking, and the bag is this. That is why it's called that. Yeah, it looks really good. I searched a bit for this technique. Is called Canadian smocking or North American smocking, I guess, depending on who you ask. But it's a little bit different. Like traditional, I guess European. I'm not sure. Smocking is way smaller, and it's used in like thin fabrics to make like tiny ripples in it. So this is a bit different, but you can do really cool three-dimensional textures with it. And if you Google it, you end up finding a lot of people doing pillowcases and stuff in like entire, I don't know, it's all like flower textures or whatever. And that's not necessarily something I want in my house. But then I found this one. It's actually a combination of two different stitches, where one of them makes that V shape that actually I saw first in an article about Game of Thrones outfits. And it's in one of Daenerys' outfits, all these little V's. And then it's just combined with the thingies on the edge. Is it great to go with a specific outfit? Yeah, I needed a bag for my laptop because I bought a laptop. I didn't have, like, my regular small bag didn't fit it, and the only alternative I had was a fairly large messenger bag that was kind of not elegant. So I wanted to create a medium-sized bag that would fit my laptop. I mean, in the end, I took way too long making the bag, and now I just carry the messenger bag everywhere. But the idea was nice. And I think it'll just be a nice, all-purpose, not too big, not too small kind of bag. Like, it's the kind of thing you could carry as part of an outfit, but it's also the kind of thing you could carry with all of the shit that you carry. Like, I could still fit all of my painkillers and safety pins and all kinds of nonsense into this. And look cool doing it, I suppose. That's the plan. I'm kind of considering accessorizing it. I really like the fact that the line of just, I don't know, just the spine down the middle, I think is a really strong design element. So I don't want to put too much stuff around it to detract from the look. But I've considered, I've got some chainmail stuff in a drawer somewhere. Also with the little scales, like maybe I'll do a little piece of scale mail and just put it on the zipper tab or something like that. I mean, yeah, I really like scale mail. It's like doing chain mail, but oops, what is getting caught here? But some of the loops are these like tiny aluminum scales. It looks really cool. I bought it originally because I was going to do a scale mail corset. Not like a full chainmail corset because that A, would take forever, B, be uncomfortable, not be like a success. I wanted to do a regular corset with like a scale mail front piece. But I gave up on that at some point. So now I've got some scale mail sitting in a drawer somewhere. I'm stuck on something. This is not normal. What is this piece of thread? Why is it here? I hope this is not one of the threads I'm stitching with. Let's see what happens. I mean, yeah. Because you can. It is gamer fantasy. I was gonna try to make it a bit more elegant than that. I was thinking more like Daenerys battle dress and not like loincloth Xena, the warrior princess sort of things. I mean, got nothing against Xena, warrior princess, but it's not my aesthetic. I don't think I have the build for it. It was just going to be a regular corset with a scale mail design on the front. And now we need to end up exactly where? Exactly here. Okay. This is getting really bulky. I think that's it. So, this should be the bottom, fully done. It looks normal from here. I'm gonna just trim back the seam allowances a bit so it's not so enormous when I flip it. Okie dokie. Alright, now let's see what it looks like if I turn it right side out. This is a bit of a fight. I think I'm gonna need to do a little bit more trimming in the corners just to get everything to pop out nicely, but I would say that it is a bag. That works. I just need to, I think I'm gonna maybe iron this so that it folds under nicely. And maybe that'll also get better if I put foam in it, or maybe I'll just put a bunch of clothes pegs on it and just leave it like this overnight for the fold to set. So I think I'm now gonna I'm just gonna trim down the corners a little bit and then make a foam bottom for it. Because right now this is really floppy. I don't want it to do this. I want it to be firm. So the plan is that I'm gonna put foam in it. And I need to know whether that's strong enough or I need to put some boning along these edges as well. So let's get some craft foam. I think I got some thick stuff in here somewhere. And a big ruler. And a pen. So the original bottom was 10 by 40 centimeters. I think I'm gonna take like half a centimeter off of each of that measurement so I have a little bit of leeway. Then again, this is a bit wider than it was gonna be, so maybe I don't need to take anything off the 40. And oh yeah, here I also went a little bit outside the 10, so I'm just gonna cut the full 40 and 10 and then trim it to fit better. I think I'm gonna cut the corners a little bit. Well, am I? I think it's gonna be really hard to get the corners into the corners because it's already so bulky over here. But at the same time, maybe I want that crisp point. Let's see if this would fit. This is a bit too much. I'm going to try to draw on it what I would need to cut off for it to fit. Let's mark it in a way that I don't flip it upside down later. So I'm going to put an A in this corner and an A on that corner, and that should line up. So this corner is going like this a little bit. I think it's just a fraction too wide all across. A bit more over here though. Way too big here. How did that happen? I'm gonna just cut this. Actually, actually fairly straight. Because I don't want to fully shape the bottom like the way I stitched it a little bit off. I also want the bottom to help make it look actually rectangular. Like that's what I intended to do all along. Okay. This is going to be a lot of turning it inside out and outside out all over again. Just to see how it looks. Alright, let's see where the A was. It's really dark in there. Who would have guessed? I can't even find my A. Where is it? It can only be in one of two quarters. What is this? Ah, it's here. It's just really faded. So now if I fit this onto the bottom, trying to get all the seam allowances to go above it so it's nice and clean on the bottom. I think it's a bit too big lengthwise still. Don't make jokes about that statement. It's a bit too long. Ha ha. Nah, it's definitely too long. Actually, yeah, okay. I give up. It's too long. I'm going to cut the corners off because they're bothering me. Okay, let's try that again. It came out this way, right? I should probably mark on the outside which quarter is the A quarter as well. Yeah, it's there. Just trying to push it all the way into the corner. And then wrestle it to the other side. I'm getting there. It's still too long. Am I sure about that? Yeah, I'm sure about that. Looks like my initial estimate of just cut half a centimeter off of it was not so bad. It's now changed from a sewing stream into a wrestling match with a piece of foam. So far, so good. I should do this sort of stuff with a GoPro so you can see inside the bag as my face goes into it. And I go spelunking. It's just about fits. I think I need it to be just slightly shorter, maybe? Nah! I got it into the corner. It's definitely too wide here, too. Looking pretty decent. It's just it's fine here, but it's definitely too wide over here. I'm just gonna cut a little bit off either here. Just a tiny amount off of here. And then a bit more off of here. Okay, this should be it then. And if it fits, I'm gonna glue it down. And I do think that, I'm gonna just close this up. Oh, whoops, the zipper did a funny thing that it was not supposed to do. Because I forgot, oh, good point. I did the zipper a couple of days ago, and it's actually a zipper that separates all the way, like you would put on a jacket. And I kind of wanted a zipper that didn't, but I didn't have one, and I didn't want to wait for one to arrive, so. It's now a suboptimal zipper. And I should have stitched it down so you can't actually separate it. But I haven't done that yet. So now it's being annoying. Come on, zipper. Zip up. Because I want to see whether this thing will stand up with the bottom in it. It almost looks like someone who knows what they're doing made it. It's actually collapsing a bit here, which I don't like. I think I'm gonna also put some boning along these edges, and that'll help it be a bit more like that. Though, honestly, this doesn't look awful if it's just sitting on a table like this. And if you're carrying it, you're holding it up anyway. So it would end up looking like this. Which I think looks pretty good. Yeah, I think the foam is enough to keep the bottom in shape. So no more boning in there. Finick that zipper back inside where it's supposed to be. Alright. Anyway, let's try to glue down the bottom. I guess I'm just gonna use regular hobby glue or something. Should be, oh, double-sided tape is excellent for this, if it'll stay put. I'll do a quick test with some double-sided tape. Oops. Got a couple of different ones. And it needs to stick to... Do I have a sample piece of fabric? No. I'm just going to try it on the bag itself then. If it sticks, I'm keeping it, and if it doesn't, then it will be easy to remove. It's getting really dusty in here. It's coming off a bit easily. Maybe I should remove some of the dust because there's quite a lot of, you can even see a little, at least I hope you can see this on camera. There's a blacker stripe where the tape was because of all the dust that I removed with it. It's probably not great. Let's see if that cleaner bit will stick better. No, when I try to remove the backing, it's just peeling up the whole thing. It's not super unsticky, but it doesn't really want to. It sticks a bit. Let's try the other one. Haha! Much better. Oh, this is not terribly sticky. Does it stick to foam? Marginally. Okay. I think it'll be enough to keep it in place. Mostly. Which is enough until I get the little feet that I'm going to put through the bottom and that are going to definitively nail it in place. So I'm going to do a combo, I think, of tape and glue. I'm going to get one of those lint rollers so that this will actually stick as much as it possibly can. Okay, let's clean this up. So trim up just a little bit more off the corners. Ow! What happened? Did I just cut my finger running it along the scissors? I knew these things were sharp, but jeez. Okay, so more sticking. There we go. And then maybe some generic hobby glue. This one. I'm going to put this mostly in the middle, so if I'm wrestling with the piece of foam, I don't end up rubbing it all through the inside of the bag. Alright, let's turn this thing. Okay, now let's get this all... Ooh, it actually did a pretty decent job getting into its proper space on its own. I guess because I turned it outside out with the foam already in place, all the seam allowances sort of collapsed onto it instead of getting stuck underneath. It's pretty neat, actually. Okay, the tape is doing a good job because I'm actually finding it hard to wiggle it into place at the moment. I used to be able to just push it into the corner, but no longer. Why did I do this? Why did I think this was smart? Is it seriously not fitting? I have a feeling it's actually still too wide in some places. It just wasn't as obvious before. It's getting better as I pull more of the seam allowances up next to it. It's just, in order to reposition it even slightly, you sort of have to peel it off the tape, and that ruins all the positioning you've done. Ugh. Why did I do this? I should have just stuck to with the glue. And then I could have wrestled it for a while before it set. I think I got it now though, at least on this side. No, it still needs to move a bit to the left actually. What am I doing? Okay. I think I got this. That's 2 corners down. Now the other 2 corners, and then worry about the middle. Seriously, looking into this bag is like looking into the abyss. It doesn't want you to succeed. Oh God. I think it's too wide, and now it's not so much pushing the bottom out as it is pushing the side under. Yeah, I think actually I'm gonna take it out again, and I don't know. Because it's sort of forcing the front down, which I don't like. But now it's all glued up. I think I'm gonna take it out, let the glue dry, and just try again. And I'm not gonna make the stream wait for the glue to dry. So I guess that's the end of it for today. It's come together pretty nicely, I think. It's starting to look like a bag. I just need to do the lining for it, which I ordered some matching thread for today. So I'm not going to be doing that right now. But I think it's close to being finished, that I have at least some hope that it's going to be usable in the near future. So thanks to everyone who watched. And there's some material on the side. It's just a sort of fake leather. The same that I was using on the corset, because I had too much of it. So
I will see you later.